Gentlemen, welcome to the Streamliner training session for the suppliers and carriers of Greenyard Fresh France. In the next hour, we'll tackle three subjects: Streamliner at a glance, how to get started, create your company on Streamliner, and Streamliner on a day-to-day basis. Let's start immediately with Streamliner. Why was Streamliner created? Streamliner was created to simplify the communication which happens between the different stakeholders in the supply chain. In the center, you see the warehouse and sourcing department, in this case of Greenyard Fresh France. We try to actually streamline all the communication between the suppliers, their carriers, and Greenyard all around the execution of the purchase orders of Greenyard and the delivery to the warehouse in Rennes. Streamliner is all about a slot booking application, but it's much more than a slot booking application. It allows you, while the order is executed, to communicate using the built-in chat layer, to share documents, you as supplier with your carrier and with Greenyard, and vice versa. You will get proactive notification if something is going wrong, and everything will be collected in easy dashboards around the performance of you and your carrier. We always say that Streamliner makes the execution and delivery of the orders as easy as using Facebook or WhatsApp. What are you really going to see is all about the follow-up of your orders, where you as a supplier and a carrier, you'll be able to plan your deliveries, book a delivery slot, exchange relevant data as delivery documents or signed CMRs, manage claims. You'll be notified of any deviation. There will be chat which will allow you to solve problems directly by contacting the people at Greenyard or your carrier. And of course, there are the performance measurement dashboards. But before, let's now get started with step one, is creating your company on Streamliner. And here we are using one test company. As a supplier of Greenyard Fresh France, you will have received an invitation. The invitation comes from Streamliner admin and looks like this. It is a notification sent to, here I'm using as a demo supplier CPEF, and you will have received this invitation, and the purpose is to really create your company account by clicking on the hyperlink. The hyperlink will immediately take you to Streamliner and will take you through the process of creating your company account. This is something you will only have to do once. It's not only once for Greenyard Fresh France, but once for any future customer of yours which is using Streamliner. You start by putting your company name. Here I use CPEF. There's the email where you've been invited with. Please put in the name of the person, because Streamliner is all about companies collaborating, but it's really the people, the employees of the companies who are collaborating with them. So we call it Jean from Streamliner, and you use your own password. It's very important that in Streamliner, any user is known by an email address and a private password. Important to note that when you create your email address in Streamliner, the email address is case sensitive, meaning that if you put it with a big D, it's a different email address than with a small d. So email addresses are case sensitive, and of course passwords also. Step one, you create the first account. Step two, a Streamliner is going to check if this company is not already existing within the Streamliner apps somewhere. It is done by checking the VAT number, because for every company you can only have, for every VAT number you can only create one company on Streamliner. You will do a check, and we'll be checking in the background the VIS database, saying, okay, CPEF exists, it is a known VAT number, you're allowed to go further. Then, as you see, Streamliner is a free app for a free application for the suppliers and carriers of Greenyard Fresh France. It's not like other slot booking apps where the carriers are asked to pay by slot. No, it is Greenyard is the customer of Streamliner, and Greenyard offers Streamliner for free at its suppliers and carriers. Step 1 is done. You have created your company, and now there's going to come a confirmation email which will be sent to your email address saying, please confirm your email. You're almost there. You click again on the email address, and it is a verification to really check that the email is correct, and you can activate your account. It will ask you to enter your email address and password again, and you are all set. Your company is now active. And you can immediately continue with the rest of the login process. You've been invited, you've registered your first user, you registered your company, you got activating email. We are done. Second step is now actually to go in and manage your company profile. So let us sign in. And here we are in Streamliner. As a user, you can really manage your what we call user account, your profile. You can add a picture, you can add your job title, your role in the company, and mobile phone. This is not obligatory, but this information will be shared with the people from Greenyard. Maybe a very important element is the language. At this moment, Streamliner is available in 3 languages, English, French, Dutch, and the language is user specific. So within your own company, you can have multiple users, and each user can have a different language. So it is at user level that you choose your language. Second element, which is very important to note, is to somewhere look at what we call the online support. So when you actually look here, you find a support button. The support button has different options. It's the support center and the live chat. The support center is where you can look for certain questions, like how do I set up a company? You type here you can go immediately to set up a company, or you can also type here set up, and then it will actually show you a general, always small articles. We explain you step by step how to go through a certain process. So very important, if you got a question, go to the support page. If the support page doesn't give you the answer, there's always the live chat where you can drop in a question and the help desk of Streamliner will come back to you. And of course, you can always contact the people of Greenyard, which are fully trained. Next step is the company account. Here, always cool, you can upload your logo so that your company becomes easier identifiable on the company account. Let's continue. Second step, once your company is active and once you've created your own account, is to invite colleagues. We cannot repeat this enough. Streamliner is a company-to-company collaboration platform, but behind that are the users. If there's only one user active and you're on holiday, nobody will be able to log into Streamliner. But Streamliner is made for you to invite your colleagues. It's a very easy process. You go to users, you click on add, you add a user, you type his name, you type his email address, Again, very important, email addresses are case sensitive. And here you can choose the role. The role is all around the higher you are, company owner, administrator, user plus user, the more functionalities you have. So it's really important. The first user will always be the primary user. It's very important to invite a colleague with a profile of company user. And you can then invite a colleague. So please invite a colleague. Yeah, always make sure to invite a second colleague. The third step you have to do is define your supply chain. In the case of a supplier, supply chain are all the locations where goods are picked up from where you ship to Greenyard Fresh France. You must at least create one location. However, if you are shipping out of multiple warehouses to Greenyard ranges, you must create all of these locations. But one location is mandatory, and here you can take a location, call it warehouse, we call it it's a distribution center, and you take any known address. Very important here is to take an address the way it is written in Google Maps. In order to get good quality data, we will check the writing of this address versus Google Maps, and if it's not the way it is written in Google Maps, it actually will be rejected. This is to avoid that the same locations are created with different writings and then they are not recognized as the same locations. So please take your time. It's very easy. If you don't find it, just to go to Google Maps, type in your own address and copy that into Streamliner. You will see that automatically this is yard enabled. Don't touch this. And here you can share information for your carriers, meaning what are the opening days. You can add a Saturday. When does the site open? For example, you can load as of 5 o'clock in the morning, and you can load until maybe 1400. So, very important now is to understand that Streamliner is what we call a SaaS or a browser application. Once you've done the first login, you need to memorize or put in your favorites the URL of app@streamliner.cloud. So it's app.streamliner.cloud. Put it in your favorite. It will work with any browser, Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, not Internet Explorer anymore. But very important, share this URL app.streamliner.cloud with all the colleagues who will be booking slots and who will be communicating with your carriers, and make sure that they put them in their favorites on their browsers so they can immediately link to that website. Streamliner works on laptops, desktop, tablets, meaning it's the screen size. Technically it works on the smartphone, but you need a loop to read the screens because the screens contain too much information, so it really works on any device with a bigger screen. Also, please make sure that you only have one session open, because if you try to log in with the same password on 2 sessions, you will get security issues. And again, I said email addresses and passwords are case sensitive. Please explain this to all your colleagues who are on Streamliner, because this is the majority of the questions we get in our help desk. You've set up your location. Something, if you have a more complex supply chain, you will see that in locations you can also create folders. So if you would have, like, for example, a country structure, you could create a folder where you, for example, say I got a folder called Belgium, and then I add a folder called France, and you add, and then you can add the different warehouses at this folder. So Streamliner has a location and folder structure linked to that. Now that you actually have created additional users, created your different pickup locations with or without a folder structure, you are ready to enter into the Greenyard Fresh France community. Meaning that you as a supplier or you as a carrier of a supplier, you are part of that community, and in that community information will be exchanged. So you will see that in the beginning this community is still orange. You're invited as a supplier. The next step is you click on the title and you accept, and you say I accept, and as from that you are, as a supplier, you joined the community, and you will see now that this community is now green. You joined as a supplier. This is the setup is now fully complete. You are ready to go. The only thing which is left now is to set up your carrier, to invite your carrier. How does that work? You go into your Streamliner, and you will see when you go into the community, you will have 5 tabs. Dashboard. The dashboard is like a message wall where Greenyard Fresh will post general messages for you. Companies are your colleague suppliers. You will find the different suppliers, but what also can be very interesting for you is that you can filter on carriers, and here you can already see which are the carriers which are already supplying to Greenyard Fresh France. Meaning that if you are a new supplier and you don't really know which carrier to select, if you select this carrier will at least already know the procedures and will know the slot booking app, and actually it's much easier to work with one of those carriers than selecting a new one. Assuming you say, okay, I find my carrier among the list, then you're going to invite that carrier. Assuming that, for example, Electrans is your carrier, you click on the carrier and you say, I, as CPEF, I'm going to invite this carrier. If your carrier is not yet known on Streamliner, or not yet known on Streamliner Fresh France, you're going to invite the carrier. By inviting the carrier, you're going to do it in 2 ways. First, you're going to see if your carrier is already maybe using Streamliner in some other part of the world by typing his address. For example, Transport Michel. He's not yet there. You can also type his VAT number. If you take like a VAT number, any known VAT number, as soon as you start typing, you will start seeing appearing all the VAT numbers of companies in the platform. It is not there. You basically use the email address to invite your carrier, and the carrier will then have to go to the same process as you did, creating his company account. It's always important that when you invite your carrier, you first explain him what is happening. And we've got special procedures for that. If you go to the support page, you go to the support center, you can find, like, you type carrier, and you can say step-by-step guide to invite and involve a carrier. And that's something like where you say, hey, this is the procedure. How can I invite a carrier? And So this is a link which you can, first of all, you can go through, and then you can also maybe send as the same, this is a link you can share with your carrier. And then the carrier will also know on the step-by-step onboarding as a carrier. So this is very important. This is the procedure. You can then share with your carrier, and that will take him through the step-by-step process how he creates his company account. You can also share, of course, the link of this video with your carrier. So now you actually have done all that. What you still can do as a last step is some standard settings. So you look for yourself in the list. And here there are some default parameters. It will make the booking of a slot easier because it will actually predefine certain settings. You can say, for example, you click on Edit, you go to the palette, you can say, I'm always delivering non-stackable block pallets, I'm always using a trailer or a container, and once your carrier has defined, you can select your carrier, and also you can say, if you got multiple warehouses, what's the preferred warehouse? This way, it avoids you to type this in every time you book a slot. And actually, this is only thing you have to do, create your account. This is something you have to do only once. Now you actually have created your company account. You have invited a second user or more users. You've created one or more pickup locations, and you've invited one or more carriers to join the community. The setup of Streamliner as a supplier of Greenyard Fresh France is completed, and we've done this in demo mode in less than 20 minutes. Let's now go to the next step, is the day-to-day use of Streamliner, which is all around booking the delivery slot at the warehouse in Rungis and the communication around the order. But before we start, let's get some definitions clear about the different steps an order goes through. When an order is created in the ERP system of Greenyard Fresh, a copy of the order header is available in Streamliner, and you will be notified by Streamliner saying you have received a new order. The order details are not available in Streamliner because we're not intervening with the legal process of ordering, so the order details and the legal contract between you and Greenyard Fresh France remains unchanged. This is only a tool to streamline the execution of the order. Step 1 is an order. The second word which we're using is a package, or what we could call a transport order. Is that this is the second phase of an order when you are inviting a carrier and say to the carrier, can you please transport this order for me to Rungis? At that moment, you add to the order a carrier who's going to execute it, the pickup location where he has to pick it up, and the moment as of when he can pick it up. The third step in the life cycle of an order is when it becomes a shipment. This is when the carrier books a slot and confirms the delivery date and hour to Greenyard Fresh. That's the shipment and the delivery slot. And the last step, which is also shared, is the reception at Greenyard Fresh and any defects which is observed at that time. Throughout this whole life cycle, you and the carrier and Greenyard will be always in real-time contact each other. To part 2 of the supplier training, where we're going to go through the operational day-to-day work with Streamliner. I'm going to start logging in as a supplier, our demo supplier, which is still CF. He logs in with his email address. Again, as we said, the email address is case sensitive. Puts in his password and logs in. Operational, he goes to the Streamliner Greenyard Fresh France community, and he goes to Streamliner, the operational part. Here he will find 4 screens, the dashboard, which gives him an overview of he's got 3 orders which he received from Greenyard Fresh, and none of them are shipped for the moment. When he clicks on the tab, he will see his 3 orders. He's got 1 order which has to be delivered on the 3rd of November, and 2 orders which have to be delivered on the 4th of November. What does the supplier has to do? He has to actually book a slot himself or ask the carrier to pick it up and go and deliver it and book a slot. So, step 1, he clicks on the order, he adds the order to his basket, he clicks and says, I'm going to book an order myself. He books the order, it will come automatically on the slot booking screen, where the screen will tell him what's the order in case, the trailer, the volume. If he's got like a manco, he can basically say, oi, I've got a manco, I can only deliver 23 pallets. He puts his internal reference, like for example, CMR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the order has to be delivered on the 3rd. Streamliner will always propose the first free slot of the day. If he doesn't want to come on 7 o'clock, he can ask 8 if there's no space, or he can ask 9 o'clock to go and deliver. So Streamliner will tell him the free slots on the day, and he can book a slot. Automatically, he will actually get the overview. Going back to the order, as he said, as he mentioned that he had like an out of stock, he can use the comment field and saying, I will only deliver 23 pallets because of an out of stock. So this is an automatic chat function which is available within Streamliner. Even going further, he now has got this order has become a shipment. So now we know that on the 3rd of November at 9 o'clock is going to deliver. He can actually now already share documents with Greenyard. So he can actually attach to this a file, which for example he can go, and it's automatically selected. He can take any file which he can attach to the document. Let's now go to the other case where he says, I'm not going to transport it myself, I'm going to ask my transport company to transport it. And look, he's got 2 orders. He can combine, he says, I'm going to add the first order to my basket. But he said, I had a second order on the same day. We can go to the second order and also add it to his basket. So now when you look at the basket, he's got 2 orders in the basket. And instead of delivering it himself, he says, I'm going to pack it, make a transport order of the delivery. He will say, now I'm not going to transport myself, I'm going to use my carrier to book a slot. I'm going to use, again, my internal reference. it is the sum of the two orders. 5 plus 2 is 7 pallets. And it says this has to be delivered on the 4th. And it has to be picked up from my warehouse. And he packs it. At this moment, his order is now packed. And he will actually see, you see that here the order, first step, order received. Second step, packed. Third step, delivery slot booked. In this case, the second step is done. He nominated the carrier, he gave the carrier a pickup location and a pickup date, but the carrier did not yet book a slot. And the carrier, you can look at it, the carrier is in this case Greenyard France. So let's now log out and let's log in as Greenyard France. How does the carrier see this mission? I'm now going to log in as Greenyard France, the carrier of CPAP. He goes into the community, he goes to Streamliner, and here he will see the transport mission he received from CPAP. He can also see other missions he received from other suppliers. He clicks on it, it says, I'm going to add it to my basket, because now the carrier has to book a slot. Streamliner will automatically tell him, on the 4th you can come 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever he says, I'm going to come at 9 o'clock. Perfect. Boom. Carrier has booked a slot. That's all your carrier has to do. And from now on, you can see all this. Let's now continue the last step, which is the reception of the goods. I'm going to log in again as an employee of the warehouse of Greenyard. I'm now logged in as an employee of Greenyard Group, Greenyard Fresh, and I'm going to look at all the deliveries which I am expecting. And here you can see that there is the CPEF deliveries, and there is the one which is done by CPEF directly, and there is the delivery done by Greenyard France. When assuming this delivery arrives, you click on it, and Greenyard can see that when the truck presents himself, they say, this is the carrier Greenyard France. He's booked a slot, the 4th of November at 9 o'clock, and he will bring me those two orders from the supplier CPEF. And when the truck arrives, they will timestamp the delivery. They say, truck has arrived. Truck is let into the warehouse. They will allocate a gate, saying, okay, I'm going to put him on door 6, save. And this information is shared in real time. So you as a supplier will be able to follow how long is my truck already standing there. And then something very interesting can happen. During the reception, there is a chat function where they can put free text. It's like a free text message. But Greenyard can also use what we call the predefined issues. For example, while unloading the truck, they could, for example, say, there is a case which is damaged. And this will generate what you hear, notifications. And let me take now a little sidestep in the training about the element of the notification. Because as soon as Greenyard signals a problem, Streamliner will send a notification. And what is a notification? See, I go to dashboards, companies, members. Members you will find yourself. And here you can see the notifications. Notifications are messages which Streamliner sends to a user. Now it's very important, every user, in function of his role in the company, will select the notification which he wants to receive. There are three groups of notification: order-related notifications, which you can set on, off. There are package or transport order-related notifications, which you can set on or off, or shipment-related notifications, which you can send on or off, which is basically the delivery. Now, in function of the role in the company, you as a user chooses which notification you want to receive. If you are on the order function, the customer service of a supplier, you might want to say, look, okay, every time an order is sent, you can get a notification. When it's updated, meaning Greenyard changes the volume on the order, you can get a notification. When the order is deleted, or you say, well, the deleted one I might not want to get, then you click it off. Comments is whenever Greenyard puts a comment on the order, you get a notification when the order is cancelled or recalled. So you can switch off and design your own. You might not be responsible for transportation, and you're basically saying, well, the delivery is less of my worry. However, the one thing which I want to receive is that when Greenyard puts a comment or an image, or when the order is deleted or cancelled. So it's very important. Go through your role and decide which information you want to receive from Streamliner. If you leave them all on, it might be a little bit too much. If you switch them all off, it might be a little bit too little because you lose the power of communicating directly with Streamliner. We see that this functionality, this real-time chat around an order, is really used, is really very powerful to share out of stocks, to share delivery delays with Greenyard and back from the warehouse to the supplier. So it's really very important. You will see that Greenyard will, for example, inform you via this chat function of the functions, let's say the gates they're allocating to the truck. So here you can see the notifications. This is the way it will appear on the screen for the people of Greenyard. Here they will actually see the planning of the day and saying, on the 4th, I'm expecting a delivery. When they see like a free text, they can automatically click here and go through that shipment, and they can understand what is actually happening. So it's a very powerful tool if it's managed in a very good way. So please take some time to your users to explain what to do with notifications. So as you see, the work is really very small. It is you as a supplier, you start from the order screen. When you take an order, you inform your carrier that he has to pick it up and pick a slot. The carrier actually goes through the package and books a slot, and the warehouse of Greenyard will do the delivery and the shipment. And all this you can follow in real time on your screen. So let me log out and let me log in again as our supplier CPEF. Here is CPEF again. When they're logging in, they go to Streamliner. They see their order screen. They now see, there are 2 shipments made. I've got 3 orders. Those 2 orders are combined into 2 shipments. And they can see that 1 shipment is now already arrived at the warehouse. And they can basically see, the truck is actually now at dock number 7. And they will see that during the delivery, 1 carton has been broken and there's a certain message has been given. And here they can engage and they can say, please send me a picture of the damaged box. That way they can, in real time, build the case for the potential claim. So let's go through what we've seen today. So you have the order overview. We've talked about how to make a package, which is a transport mission. We know that a transport mission is an order where you have a volume, a carrier, and a pickup location. You've got a package overview. And then as a carrier, with that package, you can book a slot. You can either book as a supplier directly a slot, or you can actually ask your carrier to book a slot of going via the package. Important to also note some exceptions. If you are requesting a shipment, you can actually request a shipment within the agreed timings and capacity of Greenyard. If you are asking at the moment when there is actually no time anymore, you will get a notification saying, watch out, this shipment has to be approved by Greenyard. If there is space, it will be automatically approved. If there is no space, you have to wait for approval of Greenyard, and you will get a special notification for that. Also, when you have made a booking, you can always change that booking. So let's go back. We are CPEF, and as you see, CPEF have made a booking. We go back to the shipment screen. Assuming here they're saying, this shipment which I've made for the 3rd of November at 9 o'clock, I'm not going to make it. So they click on the shipment, and here on this little wheel, they can modify the shipment or delete the shipment. Assume they want to modify the shipment, they click on the shipment, and they say, I asked the delivery at 9 o'clock, but I'm not going to make 9 o'clock, I want to go at 11 o'clock. They rebook the shipment. No need to send any other email or confirmation of the training session. Just before we close, 2 important elements to note. Streamliner is a SaaS application which you access via the following URL, app.streamliner.cloud. Make sure you save it in your favorites on the browser you're using. And if you got any question, you can contact us directly via the support in the app, which is support.streamliner.cloud. Thank you very much.